Deep in a forest where sunlight dappled through ancient trees, lived an old man. His face was a map of wrinkles, but his eyes held a kindness that seemed to echo the gentleness of the woods themselves. He wasn't always alone. His companions were the creatures of the forest, a fox with a mended leg, a family of deer that grazed in his garden, and birds that nested in the eaves of his hand-built cabin. But his heart, despite the life teeming around him, held a quiet, solitary corner. Long ago, this man, whose name was Leo, was a vibrant young city dweller. His world revolved around a girl named Clara. Her laughter was the soundtrack to his days, and her smile the light he navigated by. They were inseparable, their futures woven together like the threads of a beautiful tapestry. He had a ring, a simple silver band, tucked away in a small wooden box, waiting for the perfect moment to ask her to be his wife. They dreamed of a small house with a big garden, a life filled with simple joys and endless love. But fate, as it often does, had other plans. One gray morning, a harsh knock echoed through his small apartment. 3 men in uniforms stood at his door. His country was at war, and he was being drafted. Panic seized him. He pleaded, he explained, he talked about Clara, about their future. But his words were lost against the unyielding wall of duty. As they led him away, he saw Clara running towards him, her face a canvas of disbelief and terror. Their hands brushed for a fleeting second before he was pulled into a truck, the image of her tear-streaked face burning into his memory. Life in the army was a harsh, colorless existence, a stark contrast to the vibrant world he had shared with Clara every night. Under a blanket of unfamiliar stars, he would clutch the small, worn photograph of her he kept in his breast pocket. Her smile was his only solace. He wrote to her every single day, pouring his heart onto paper, telling her about his longing, his fears, and his unwavering hope of returning to her. He even tried to escape once, a desperate, reckless attempt to run back to the only home he had ever known. But he was caught and brought back, his sentence extended. The days bled into weeks, the weeks into months, and the months into years. Finally, after 2 long years and 9 agonizing months, the war ended. Leo, older and wearier, was discharged. The first thing he did was run, not walk, to the small apartment they had once dreamed of filling with a family. He raced up the stairs, his heart pounding a frantic rhythm against his ribs. He knocked, but there was no answer. He tried the door. It was locked. An elderly woman from next door poked her head out. She didn't recognize him at first. When he showed her Clara's picture, her expression softened with pity. Clara's family had moved away shortly after the war started, she said. No one knew where they had gone. A cold dread washed over Leo. He spent the next few months wandering the city's streets, a ghost haunting his own past. He held Clara's picture out to every stranger, his voice hoarse from asking the same question over and over. "Have you seen her? Do you know where she is?" But every face was a blank, every answer a shake of the head. The city that was once his home had become a monument to his loss. The symphony of its sounds was now a cacophony of indifference. One day, unable to bear the constant reminders of a life that was no longer his, Leo packed a small bag. He left the city's noise and gray concrete behind and walked until the buildings gave way to trees and the streets turned into dirt paths. He walked deep into the forest, seeking a silence that could soothe the screaming in his soul. There, he began to build a new life, not out of desire, but out of necessity. He built a small cabin with his own 2 hands, planted a garden, and found a strange sort of peace in the rhythm of nature. He poured his unspent love into the world around him. He became a guardian of the forest, tending to any creature that was hurt or hungry. The years passed. His hair turned from brown to silver. His strong back stooped with age, and the lines on his face deepened. But the image of Clara, her smile, her laughter, remained as vivid as ever. The sadness in his heart was a quiet, constant companion, a dull ache that never truly faded. One crisp autumn morning, nearly 30 years after he had retreated into his sanctuary, Leo was tending to his tomato plants. The air was still, filled with the scent of damp earth and pine. He straightened up to stretch his aching back and glanced towards the edge of his clearing. A figure stood there, a woman, silhouetted against the morning sun. He squinted, his old eyes struggling to focus. She took a hesitant step forward, and then another. As she came closer, his breath caught in his throat. It couldn't be. Time seemed to slow down, the world falling away until only she remained. The years had changed her, just as they had changed him. But her eyes were the same. They held the same warmth, the same light that he had carried in his heart for 3 decades. It was Clara. He dropped his trowel, his hands trembling. "Clara," he whispered, his voice cracking with a lifetime of unspoken words. A tear rolled down her cheek, and she smiled, the same beautiful smile from his photograph. "Leo," she breathed, "I never stopped looking for you." He stumbled forward, and she ran to meet him. They crashed into each other's arms, a collision of past and present, of sorrow and joy. They held on tight, as if afraid the other might vanish. Decades of loneliness and longing melted away in a flood of tears. They weren't the young lovers they once were, but the bond between them was stronger than time itself.
Okay.
She had heard whispers of a kind man living deep in the woods and had followed that sliver of hope all the way to his doorstep. They lived out the rest of their days together in that small cabin, their love story a quiet testament to the power of hope. They proved that true love doesn't fade with time or distance. It waits, it endures. So love each other and never, ever lose hope. Subscribe for more stories. We love you.